Welcome to the Livfiit Listens podcast, a safe space of growth, personal development, and overall wellness with your host, Olivia Catania. Diving into the realms of all things health, conscious living, mental expansion, and much more, this podcast is designed to help you evolve into your best self and live fit. Let's get into the show. Hey. I'm just gonna keep flowing. That was my hiccup. This is so random, but I don't know if this happens to anyone else, but like I will just get one singular. I will have the hiccup sometimes, but very rarely, but very frequently I'll just get one hiccup. And like that's it. I don't know why. I don't know where the rest go, but I just get one. Anyways, welcome back to the pod, episode 26, and I'm really excited for this one. But for first, gratitude. You guys know the flow. But in case you guys are new, sometimes I forget that I'm not talking to like the same person every time. If you are new, the structure of the podcast is I always introduce the episode with something that I'm feeling really grateful for in hopes to help you guys think of things that you're grateful for and just have a more positive mindset of gratitude for the week ahead. And then I always end every episode with an affirmation for you to help apply the episode that we talked about this week. But also, if you're new, these are also on my YouTube channel at Livfiit if you want to watch every episode. So anyways, I'm feeling really grateful for you guys. Not to like totally be super like generic, but I have yet to say that in an episode yet. And I just really mean it. Like I feel it every day, but especially today. I just really feel thankful that there's people on the other side who's actually listening to what I have to say and like is there for me. Like I just feel like I truly genuinely have friends on the other side of this camera and on the other side of all these platforms. And I just am so thankful to have you guys like in this community and just how much you guys support me and just what I'm doing. And again, what I have to say and like every share for the podcast, whether you put it on your story or whatever, or you tell a friend or tell your mom to listen to it, like that it helps me so much go to where I want to be going. And it just helps this podcast reach more people, which is of course always the goal, just simply to help extend this Livfiit impact of the brand as a whole. Every time you guys subscribe or leave a rating or review, anything like that, like it really just means the world to me and it helps me so much. And I, as you guys know, like I quite literally would be nothing without you guys. So I just really love that you guys are there for me, that you support me, that you guys get value from what I'm putting out there, right? Like that is the most rewarding thing ever when you guys say that I've been able to help you or my content has been able to help you or change your life in any which way. And it's not even in the sense of like, oh, I changed their life. It's like I feel so humbled and so grateful that this Livfiit space, the brand, is able to do that for you guys. And it just really means a lot to me. And it's heartwarming to me. It's humbling. It's grounding. And I just want to say thank you because I really feel like I haven't said that to you guys in a while. So thank you genuinely from the bottom of my heart. I really, really appreciate you guys and all that you guys do for me. So for this episode, we're going to be talking about how to stop caring what other people think. This has been something I've dealt with like throughout my whole life, as with everyone, like consciously kind of being just aware, like everyone has opinions, right? That's no secret. And just, I definitely was in a phase of my life previously where I would be way too invested in those opinions of other people. And it's very common to get crippled by thinking of all of those opinions that people have, etc. And I just feel like the whole concept of like what people think of you will completely, quite literally cripple people and will stop them from chasing and working towards their dreams or living the life they want to live. And like thinking where I am now, like that just seems like the most asinine thing, like so much past insanity. Like I don't even really know how we got to this point as a society where we invest so much of our own life in the opinion of someone else in their own life. We'll dive into it, but essentially I just really don't like the fact of how much people will be crippled by other people's opinions and then they won't pursue the things that they want to do due to that. It just like does not seem right to me, and I don't want any of you guys listening to be that person. I want you guys to feel free to be yourselves, do what you want to do, and live your own life for you. And I hope that this podcast episode will help empower you and make you feel safe to do so. So the first thing I want to touch on is that everyone's opinions, everyone's judgments is quite literally a reflection of them. And again, I feel like I always touch on like very generic reasonings, but I feel like they seem more generic, like when people say them, but like there literally is a full-on science. It's like proven. There's way more depth behind these sayings, if you will. Like they're saying for a reason. Like everyone's judgment is a reflection of them. Like it's a saying for a reason because it genuinely is science-backed. Like think about an opinion you have. For example, I'm just going to randomly give an example. You think that people who don't go to college aren't smart and aren't going to have a productive future, a positive, bright future, successful future. Next, I want to ask you, I want you guys, whatever, you can apply this to anything that you want, any judgment that you want to reflect on. Then I want you to ask yourself why you have that opinion. So then with sticking with this example, why do you feel that way? Why do you feel like if someone doesn't go to college, they're not going to be successful? Okay, the next answer might be, well, when I was in high school and we were all supposed to be looking at colleges, my teacher said that you're going to be nothing if you don't get a 4-year college degree. Okay, so that's where that stemmed from. It probably is a lot deeper for other people. When I was in the 4th grade, my mom said that if I don't get good grades, I'm going to be working at Red Apple the rest of my life. That was a gas station in my hometown. But something like that, like those are just pure examples of how your opinion is built off of a belief that you accepted in previous years, whether that was someone else's opinion or you went through an experience that made you a very biased experience that made you adopt that perspective. For example, maybe you met someone when you were 16 who they were 24, they were really rough in it in their life, and they're like, dang it, if I went to college, like my life would have been so much better. So you thought, damn, I have to go to college or else I'm going to have no future, when really that was just simply the case of that own singular person's journey. Things like that. All I'm trying to say is these opinions are a collection coming from somewhere. And that's where that saying comes from, that everyone's opinion is just simply a reflection of them. That's truly what it means. It literally has people's opinions of you and judgments of you and what you're doing truly, quite literally, have absolutely nothing to do with you. Because like I'm saying, they simply come from their own subconscious or conscious beliefs, their own programmings that they've chosen to accept and adopt throughout their upbringing. So now they have adopted that same viewpoint. That's the thing. Opinions, judgments, they're all just different perspective viewpoints. That's the thing. There is no right and wrong. That's why an opinion is an opinion. Like everything is so subjective. Like the only thing that is truth, right, is a fact, right? I still remember learning about that in school. What's the difference between a fact and an opinion? An opinion can't be wrong, therefore, or right. So basically, I'm just trying to say, like, there is absolutely no, like, solid, stable ground that these opinions are built off of, that they should, to the point where they should make you feel right or wrong, good or bad about doing something. It's just someone else's opinion that quite literally means nothing, is completely subjective, and has completely been formed around that own person's subconscious beliefs, upbringing, their own reality. Which leads me to kind of my next point of something that helps me just release this judgment, these opinions from other people, and have me not really care about them. And it is that every mind is a world. And this actually was from a book from Don Miguel Ruiz. I think it was in the 5th Agreement. I love the 4 Agreements. That book is my Bible. But then he had like a sequel. It's called the 5th Agreement. And I'm pretty sure that's where he says it in. And he just uses the analogy that every mind is a world. And I just loved that. And it was so simply put, and it spoke for so much more. And in this case, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because this kind of the similar concept, like everyone is living their own reality and their own freaking world. Not only does no one really cares that much what you're doing. The only reason why they're applying in a judgment or forming an opinion is because it's something to entertain them and their own life experience. But I don't know how to fully even explain this point. It's just like when you truly have such a zoomed out perspective on things, it's like really is truly hard to actually give weight to people's opinions, especially strangers, because when you look at it that way, like every mind is a world. Everyone is living their own world. It's kind of like everyone is living their own movie, right? So it's kind of like, why would you change? With that being said, you're living your own movie just like how Sheila is living her own movie. Like, why would you derail the plot of your own movie just to kind of uphold the idea or image for someone else's movie? And I know that kind of sounds almost so isolating and selfish, but like that's kind of the fact of the matter. Like we're all on our own life journey. Like, and everyone who we like, okay, someone who we value so dearly, like our mothers, someone who we think is like someone who's super important in our life, who will help to guide our life decisions because we want to make her proud, etc., etc. In her life, like, you're just the side character of her daughter. Like, she's the main character in her own life, and you're the main character in your own life. Like, again, it's hard for me to explain it, but it's just like, that is kind of the principle of life. That's the nature of life. Like, we truly are on this journey ourselves, truly at the truest point. And that's why, I'm so big on preaching self-love and knowing how to be alone and all that sort of stuff, because we just get so attached to other people, to other people's opinions, to other people's advice, to what everyone else is doing, etc. But it's like, you're trying to put yourself in their own movie, if that makes sense. Like, focus on writing your own script, your own narrative. Like, we're all in our own lane. And the sooner that we can realize that, I feel like the sooner we can maximize our own path that's in our own lane, while also maximizing those relationships in our borders, if you will. My mind works so weirdly. I'm having a weird visual, but do you know what I mean? Like, I'm picturing kind of like runways. If you just like straight lines, everyone has a lane down the road, and it's like we're always so focused on like trying to see what everyone else is doing in their own lane, and we're like turning sideways, which causes just kind of a jumbled mess. Whereas if you were just focusing on your own lane, your own world, going straight in your own lane, while maintaining love and connection for those around you on your sidelines, allows everyone to continue moving forward while also feeling each other's company beside them. I have such weird analogies in my brain. That's totally okay if that did not resonate with you. If you were like, what the hell does she just say? That's okay. Sometimes I don't even understand what I'm saying, but I see these things in my head, but it's hard for me to like verbalize it, because it's just like it's a picture, it's like a feeling, it's a thing, it's not words, I don't know. But anyways, that's just like a really big thing for me. It's like, don't change your main character action just to upkeep the energy of being a side character in someone else's story. I think that was a really big thing that helped me like tenfold. Because sometimes if I find myself like getting nervous about like, okay, for example, I'm like, oh, should I take this? And I'm the one who's like taking pictures in public with a freaking tripod because I ride solo so often. So it's like, oh, are they going to look at me and think I'm weird? Whatever. Maybe they probably will. Maybe they won't. Honestly, more often than not, they don't notice you. A, B, everyone else is so caught up with like their own people, thinking about what other people are judging them for, that they're not even really have the space to be judging other people. But regardless, even if she does think that I'm weird, whoever this person is, for taking photos, cool. That lasted 5 seconds in her day. She's going to go on with her day, and that's going to be it. And I'm going to have gotten my actual photo that I needed for work. That is going to be this long-term thing for me. That was something else that helped me too. I didn't even think to say that in this episode. I forget how I used to actually word it, but it's like, don't let temporary uncomfortability impact like an action that's going to cause a permanent outcome, if that makes sense. Like, for example, that was 5 minutes of uncomfortability of me putting myself out there to take photos with the tripod. But since I did that, now I actually have this like permanent, tangible consequence, that photo that I needed to then be able to post on Instagram, that's going to be staying on my feed forever. For example, as opposed to like if I was too nervous to go through those 5 minutes of uncomfortability because I was scared of what people would think, I would never have the photo, and then I would never be able to actively pursue Livfiit on Instagram. And I know that sounds dramatic, but it's true. It's like that same thing over and over and over again, because if that concept was forever crippling me, like I'm too scared to go take photos because I don't want someone to judge me, if I kept letting that fear of people's opinions overcome me over and over and over again, think about it. I would never actually get a photo to post on freaking Instagram. So thinking that way has allowed me to not get so caught up in it. Or like, same thing if I'm nervous to film at the gym. If I constantly let that win, I would never actually be able to, film a workout video that you guys would never be able to see, and like Livfiit would not be what it is today. So it's kind of just, again, not letting that temporary uncomfortability impair you from taking actual tangible action for a more permanent outcome. Don't let a temporary feeling impact a permanent outcome. That's a good one. So kind of got off on a side tangent there, but like, you get what I'm trying to say. Like, stay in your own lane. Every mind is a world. Everyone is living their own life. If they have a problem with it, that stays in their own thing. It's weird because I literally see it as like a movie, or like everyone has their own simulation. Like, it's kind of like, oh, okay, if I'm weird in her movie, if you will, because she saw I'm a Stranger in her movie on the side of the road cracking a coconut on the sidewalk. If I did that, by the way. If I'm weird to her, cool. That's going to stay in her own world. But I don't need to accept that. I'm still doing my own thing. And like, to me, I had a great time cracking a sidewalk and I was able, cracking a coconut, and I was able to drink water straight from a coconut. Like, that lit my life up. And that was just kind of it. It's like, it doesn't have to be, it's weird. I almost see it as like a boundary, you know, and not like in a distinct separate way, but just like in a different, you have your own flow and they have their own flow. And kind of going with that as like another sub point, the thing when people are constantly like worrying or thinking about if someone's judging them or what their opinion is, you're literally living off of the concept of hypotheticals. And that's like the same thing of how like why anxiety is so crippling and overthinking is so crippling, because you're literally living on the concept of hypotheticals. Nothing is real yet. Nothing is reality. None of those things that you're worried about has happened. But yet for some reason, you're thinking about it, engulfed in it, consumed by it, immersed in it, and you're letting it affect your actual tangible everyday actions, even though it's not even something that's fabricated in real life reality yet, which sounds so ridiculous if you think about it that way. It's like, it's just the most and the only thing that we have is the present moment. All we have is what is right now. That's all that exists. That's all will ever exist. Even when we're thinking about something in the future, it's only going to exist once it has become the present moment. So the present moment is truly all that we have. And thinking of this, you know, we waste so much energy of being like, I don't know what she's thinking of me. Like, why are you wasting so much energy on that? Like, people will not, back to this Instagram photo example, people won't go take an Instagram photo with a tripod because on the case, just in case, that the person on the sidewalk is judging them. We don't even know what they're thinking. Who knows? She could be like, hell yeah, girl, get it. I love her outfit. She looks so cute. Or maybe she's thinking, damn, how does she have the confidence to do that? I wish that I could do that. Etc., etc., etc. The list can go on and on and on. It's just simply the concept of like, don't let someone's hypothetical thought that we don't even know is real or not, or what they're thinking, what context they're thinking. Don't let that hypothetical thought impact your actual tangible course of action. Kind of the same thing of what I was just saying previously. It's just like of like temporary uncomfortability impacting a permanent outcome. It's just like the same concept. It's just like living like that is so inefficient in my mind, and so does not make any sense at all to me. And also another kind of cheat code of how I live life, and also a way that like gives me so much confidence. Again, kind of like, what's the point of worrying about what other people are thinking? What's the point in constantly just automatically assuming that they're making a negative judgment or have a negative opinion of you? I always say a no is worth no more than a yes. So just as likely as they are to be having a quote unquote bad judgment of you, they're just as likely to have a positive impression of you. You know what I mean? So that's like a big thing that gives me confidence. Back to the previous episode, a whole other episode that I did of finding confidence. It's like, why can't ignorance is bliss to me? That's how I live my life as well. Like, I would so much rather adopt the viewpoint and perspective that makes me the happiest and feel the most prosperous, whatever that is, as long as it's not hurting anyone else, right? So I don't really care if I live in a idealistic, you know, fairy tale. So freaking be it. If it's making me happy, motivated, productive, and I'm living a life that I love, I'm gonna freaking go for it. So same thing. It's like, why would I not assume that people are thinking the best of me? Why would I not assume that people, you know, in the gym think it's cool that I'm filming? Why would I not assume that people think that I have cool energy? Why am I not assuming that people think I look good that day? Literally whatever it is, like, it's just, and again, that's going to go down a whole side tangent of, I could do a whole other episode of that, of like the energetics of like, when you assume that, then you embody that energy, and that's truly genuinely what people end up adopting that same viewpoint as you, because that's how you see yourself, and everything's a mirror. But without going down that path, just for simply the sake of you and your own comfortability, why would you not just assume that everyone is supporting what you're doing no matter what it is? Because that's what's going to bring you peace and confidence in that moment for you to focus on your input of whatever you're doing, whether that's taking the Instagram photo, wearing a funky outfit that you used to be nervous to wear, deciding to go to a certain college that you don't think people are going to support, deciding to take another career path that maybe people might think isn't, you know, respectable, or whatever the case may be. Okay, and then this next thing really helps me for some reason. It's kind of like I had this one thought, and for some reason it like melted everything away. And I love when that happens, when I have like a certain revelation, and then like that just cured whatever any energy that I was wasting investing in that. But this was the thing. because I used to think, I would wonder, like, if I do this one thing, would that person agree with it? Would they do it? Do they think it's cool? Like, would they think it's a good move, et cetera, et cetera? And the thing that hit me, I think it was about like clothing. I don't really remember the exact time that I have this revelation, although sometimes I do remember, but I don't remember this one. But like, for example, if I wanted to wear something and I was like, should I wear this? Is this weird? And this is what I thought. I was like, you know what? If someone on the street doesn't like what I'm wearing, if they don't like it, that's why they're not wearing it. And like, for some reason, that like cured me. Like, same thing. If I'm going to go, I'm struggling to think of another example. Like, if you feel super strongly about wanting to go to a specific college and you're like, what is my best friend going to think? What's my parents going to think? What are my classmates going to think? Like, is this going to be cool for me to go there? Whatever. Just that concept. If they don't agree with it, like, if they don't think the school is cool, that's why they're not going. Like, you can apply this to anything. If they don't agree with it, that's why they're not doing it. And for some reason, I don't know if that's going to hit for anyone, but for me, that really hit because it, again, kind of went back to that principle of like how every mind is a world, etc. Just because I guess I found myself personally, when I was worried about people's opinions and judgments, I realized that it stemmed for me from the feeling like we all need to do the exact same thing. Like, that there was a certain path in life that was like, quote unquote, the right path. So like, for example, if people had like a negative opinion about something I was doing or what I was wearing or whatever the case may be, it made me feel like I wasn't on the right path. Does that make sense? I kind of feel like that was like low-key profound. Like, I feel like a lot of you guys might resonate with that. Like, I've just felt like I was doing like something wrong. But then when it hit me that there is no right or wrong way to do something and like we're all on our own path, that's what kind of I feel like made this statement really click of like, if they don't agree, that's why they're not doing it. Like, there's no right or wrong way. We're all living our own life in our own movie, right? So there's no right or wrong answer. Just because I don't agree with it or don't think it's cool or have a negative opinion on what I'm doing, that doesn't mean it's wrong. They just mean that they don't agree with it and that's why they're not doing it. Like, and that's really all that it needs to be. It doesn't need to be anything deeper. It's like the same thing if you're at a restaurant, someone else wanted to get pasta and then your friend wanted to get a burger. Nothing was right or wrong. Like, your friend just didn't want pasta, so she chose not to get pasta and she got a burger. Whereas you wanted the pasta, you didn't want a burger, so you just got pasta. Like, I know that's so overly simplified, but like, that really, it can be that simple if you let it be that simple. It's just, I feel like we just get so caught up in feeling like there's this one right way to do things, or like we have to fit in to be normal, or like we find this weird comfortability in like doing what everyone else is doing, which I kind of have empathy of where it's coming from. Like, I get it. Like, we're a communal species. Like, we want to feel like a sense of belonging and like we have a place, but like the reason why we should still feel all those things regardless of our differences. That's the thing. Like, I feel like that's stemming from, here's a thought, maybe that is coming, us wanting to like do all the same things so that everyone has a positive opinion of what we're doing is simply coming from the fact that we got to a place where people were still not respecting other people's opinions and other people's decisions and, ways to live their life. So people, and out of the need and want to feel accepted and respected and, still liked, out of that desire, it has made all of us try to live life a certain way to only have positive opinions by other people. When in reality, hopefully we'll get to a place where we can still wish people the best, still have positive opinions for other people, still respect their decisions, regardless of if it's something that you would personally like to do with your life or not. But the sad thing is, a lot of the times when we don't agree or have the same opinion about something, with that comes kind of disrespect or talking down to someone or feeling like they're not good enough or like, oh, they chose to do that, like, yikes. And that is stemming from ego. I'm really going on a tangent today, but like, that's actually so freaking true. And like, I think that's a big thing of like the spiritual journey as like the human collective is like trying to let our ego go, where if we really completely acted from a state of unconditional love and dropped our ego, we would not feel that need to take that respect and care and love and appreciation for other people, regardless of if they're doing something that we don't agree with or if we have a different opinion on. That was totally a different side rail, but like, I'm here for that. Wait, I'm actually thinking of something else. I almost wrapped up the episode, but I'm thinking of another thing. And that is that, kind of back to the concept of how every mind is a world. It's just that like everyone it's everyone else's own reality, right? Everyone's living in their own reality. So for example, if someone's making a judgment of you for something you're wearing or for filming in the gym or I struggle to think of examples outside of myself, which I don't like. Struggling for what they're judging you for what you're eating at lunch. Okay, whatever. That does not need to impact you unless you accept it. I can't believe I forgot to say this because this is such like a big thing that also helped me as well. That is only up for you to accept that judgment. Also kind of tying back into like the hypothetical thoughts, right? It's like that thought has absolutely no power over you unless you choose to go in, accept that thought, and then let it affect your tangible, course of action. Back to filming in the gym. I very highly doubt someone's going to come up to your face and say like, why are you filming in the gym? Like, that's weird. If that ever happens, literally DM me personally and let me know because I would be shocked. That's never ever going to happen. It's going to be in someone's mind of being like, I can't believe she's filming right now. Okay, cool. If she wants to be this negative Nancy who's stuck in her own ego, who is just rude and has a problem with everyone else living their own life, go for it. That literally cannot impact you unless you worry about what she's thinking. Go in, accept that hypothetical thought that you're choosing to make tangible now because you've given weight to it and have chosen not to go film now in the gym. Now you've let it affect your tangible course of action. Whereas on the other fact, I like to be naive, like I'm saying, ignorance is bliss. I assume that everyone's supporting what I'm doing because that's what's going to keep me going. I don't even think about if someone's having a negative thought of me because it literally cannot affect me unless I accept it. The only person that I guess that thought is doing harm to is the person who's having that thought. So that girl who's judging you, it literally can have no negative impact on you unless you let it. It is only going to be negatively impacting her. That's negative energy that she's carrying with herself. She's the one polluting her own energy. She's the one who's in an ugly, frequency. That's her own thing that she needs to deal with. She's carrying that weight. She's carrying that toxicity. That's not your weight to take on. It's like someone carrying a backpack that she put her own cement bricks in it, and then you don't know this is actually a good example. You don't know what's in the backpack until you go in, take it off her back and put it on, and it's like a ton of bricks, aka all of her judgments and opinions. Well, shit, now you took it on and now it's heavy for you and now it's light off her back because she's like, okay, look, I finally was able to tear that person down because I was uncomfortable. No. Keep her backpack zipped up. Don't look what's in there, okay? And let her carry those freaking bricks. If she wants her bag lighter, she could take off her backpack. This is such a weird analogy, but so true. If she wants to feel lighter as a person, more higher vibe, higher frequency, she can take that backpack off, take out her bricks, aka all her negative energy and all of her negative opinions and judgments. She could take out those bricks and put her backpack back on and it'll be light as hell. But that's not your job to take on, only unless that you choose to do so. So let her, or whoever that is, him, her, whatever life form it is, let them take that on. That's on their problem that they created, and it's not up to you to take that on. That was like a big thing that also helped me. Like, okay, so be it. Maybe I hope that no one is, actually judging me and I'm just making up in their head, and like the whole concept of like, yes, people are too caught up with themselves to make judgments of other people. I get it for sure. But even if the off case that they do have an actual mean judgment, that's fine. Like, it does not affect me. Like, I literally could go my whole entire life never knowing that girl in the gym gave me a dirty look or was thinking that I was weird. I'll go my whole life without knowing. But she'll go her life knowing that she carried that negative energy and was operating at such a low vibrational frequency that she felt the need to be snaky towards other people and tear them down in her mind. That's self-deprecation. That's kind of the oxymoron to this whole thing. People think judging other people or, forming these opinions of other people is going to tear them down or make them act a certain way. No, it's affecting the person who's actually making that judgment or forming that opinion, that judgmental opinion. So now that we had that whole school analogy, the last thing that I wanted to say that kind of goes with that, if you find yourself really, I always say this and I always get nervous to say it because I'm not trying to come at people because this might trigger some people, but self-awareness is key. Self-awareness is what we love here. So if you find yourself constantly being crippled by anxiety or constantly thinking like, oh, I wonder what this person's thinking of me, ask yourself and reflect and observe yourself of your thoughts towards other people. Because the harsh truth is that the people who are the most crippled and nervous about what other people think of them are the ones who judge others the most. And let me put this straight. Judging is not necessarily good or bad. Judging is simply us digesting what's going on in front of us and how well it meshes and resonates with us, our belief systems, and how we want to live our own life. There's nothing bad about it. It becomes kind of less favorable when you're rude about it and have this very like snarky energy that's like, I don't agree with that. I'm better than them. That's when it becomes a problem, and that's when I really disagree with judging or making someone else feel inferior for what they're doing. It's one thing to judge and say, yeah, that's interesting. I don't agree with that. I'm not going to do that. But like, that's totally chill that they're doing that. There's a very big difference between those two things. But just, I really, really invite you guys to reflect and think about the things that you think about. Take a step back, sit in that seat of awareness like I talked about last episode. Truly reflect and say, what are my thoughts towards other people? The people I see at the gym, the people I see at the grocery store, the people I see, I don't know, in the freaking post office. Are you looking them up and down and judging their outfit? Are you finding yourself really held up on someone who does something in the gym that kind of was like, damn, like that was so cringy? Do you find yourself saying those things? Because here's the thing that I've observed within myself and just within humans. We assume, again, and also it's because, like I say, everything is a mirror and we're all living our own reality. Every mind is a world. You assume that what's going on up here is what's going on everywhere outside of you, which is true. That is how it works. But kind of just simply scientifically how the brain works, we just assume like, oh, I make judgments in my head. I form opinions about everything that I'm thinking about other people. You assume that everyone else is thinking the same way. It just is how it works. You assume that that's just the way life works, right? It's like the same thing, for example. Think about a random tradition that your family does. Like, oh, we always eat dinner at 5 o'clock. Then when you turn 26, you're out traveling and you go to Spain and you're like, you guys eat dinner at 9? I didn't even know there was a thing to eat dinner this late. It's almost like you don't even know exists because it wasn't in your world. That's the same thing. You don't even know that people don't form judgments as often as you think because you're always judging other people and forming these negative judgmental opinions towards other people. Does that make sense? I think that was super powerful. That really helped me. So gaining that awareness, like, because now I truly don't even really judge. Like, I say I'm a people watcher because I really just observe. Like, I will just watch and I don't even really I don't really think, like, I don't form a thought after it. Like, I'm simply just watching what people are doing, but I'm not like extracting in and coming up with my own opinion, agreeing or disagreeing or having this constant debate. I just am simply observing and having the awareness of what's going on around me. And like kind of stepping into that space has allowed myself to not feel so analyzed all the time because I'm not picking apart and analyzing other people on the street. Like they're just living life. I'm witnessing it. I'm observing it just like I'm witnessing and observing my own reality in my own head. And like, that's all that it is. It doesn't need to be any deeper than that. And it's just really freaking powerful. So I really urge you guys to think about how much you're focusing on other people and also how frequently you're forming these negative judgments or negative opinions. And I call you guys and invite you guys to focus more on your freaking self. Focus more on what you actually want to be doing, what feels right to you in that moment. Focus on your own present moment and actually feeling that space, being where your feet are, living for you, living your own life experience the way you want to. Because then I guarantee you're going to be less invested and spending less time worrying about what you should do that's going to yield the best opinion by others. And you're going to actually be living in a way of being able to feel and decipher what feels good for you in your own best life. When you're able to cut out that noise of constantly trying to chase what's going to form a positive opinion in others, you're going to be able to finally feel and abide by and lean into the choice that feels good for you, that's in alignment with your own life that you want to live. And again, really freaking powerful and really transformative. So for the affirmation for this epi, I feel free to be authentically me. How freeing is that one? No pun intended. I feel free to be authentically me. It's a little bit poetic. That's more of a mantra than an affirmation, but like, we're here for it. Say that in the mirror. If you find yourself getting worried, this is the reason why the biggest way that I use affirmations that I really love, especially to help me, get through old toxic patterns or help to rewire my brain and my thought patterns. This is an example of when you would use that. For example, again, you're taking that Instagram photo outside with your tripod and you're freaking nervous. There's people on the street and you're like, damn, what are they thinking? I'm not going to do it. I'm about to not do it. I'm about to close my tripod. This one you say, no, sister. And in your head, you say, I feel free to authentically be me. I feel free to authentically be me. Say it in your head as you're opening your tripod back up, as you're walking to get in front of the camera. Repeat that mantra to yourself, and that's what's going to help rewire these subconscious programmings and this fear-based mindset that you have from other people's opinions. So I love you guys so much. I really liked this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening. If you're down, definitely screenshot this, post it on your story. I love to see that you guys are listening and what your guys' thoughts are with the podcast and everything. Subscribe, leave a rating or review. It helps me so much, helps this podcast reach more people and help impact more people. So it's kind of everyone's doing their little part in the community to help these messages reach more people and help as many people as possible. So again, I'm sending you guys so much love. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.